Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. I operate on downloads all the time, and some people actually who are like human design specialist friends of mine who actually studied and trained under the founder, Ra, I think is his name. They actually said that my center for connecting to the divine is completely open. And of course, when I was in programs and I was run by panic attacks and fear and not good enough type of programs, I wasn't downloading. So, but when I'm out of it, I'm downloading. So one of the downloads was that before I start the course with all the constellations work that we'll be doing, might be helpful if I teach people how to clear first. Why? Because if we don't know how to clear, the constellations are just going to give us feedback about what is there. And that is a lot of programs. So then what we see, constellation after constellation, just all the programs that people are running. And do we really want that? So also, there are people here that really have some kind of urgency in terms of manifesting certain things. So I first came up with a download, let's help them create a job. But then I found out a lot of people, are really, in a terrible condition regarding other areas of their life. And I thought, why not just create a goals course? And I was thinking about the goals course, the goals and resistance course of release technique that some of you know, which is a lot of clearing on aversion and attachments and having the goal and not having the goal, surrendering the goal. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it differently. So I'm going to call it the Joyous Goals Achiever Training. And it is a training because we will have to recondition the programs of our mind, and we will have to recondition our body to a new mind. And all of us Dr. Joe students know how that works, but this training is a 6-week course. You can dip in for 1 week, 2 weeks, as much as you want. But I have created a program that will be a fun way of clearing all the programs that get in the way of you and your goal. So why did I call it a joyous goal? I called it a joyous goal because as I was downloading, I had the clear insight that most of our goals bring us fear. They bring resistance. They're not even joyous. The bigger the goal we set, the bigger we have an immediate association with the big dreams that didn't work out. And so whether you want it or not, a lot of our big goals suddenly bring us back to some kind of subconscious shame, guilt, frustration. So we suddenly feel very small, and we think about all the times that not all of the goals we set, that they didn't work out. So what starts happening is that we start thinking, you know what, if I really care about this goal, maybe it's better if I don't think about it. And maybe it's better if I just wish that it will happen. Maybe some synchronicity will come into my life and I will have the goal. But of course, we know that your personal reality creates your personal reality is created by your personality. So in order to actually be able to even receive this experience of the goal, the life-changing goal of the really heart-desired goal, we will need to change some of the subconscious programs, yeah? And what, of course, we know, if you're really truthful, a lot of the time we have goals that we don't even dare look at. We are doubting and resisting the goal and the belief in the goal and ourselves before we even get started. So I called it Joyous Goals because I believe there's a way that you can set goals and work with goals in a joyful way, rather than creating goals from the conscious mind and then having to fake it till you make it and tell yourself that you don't have fear and take lots of action, and actually you're still like carrying this whole bag of subconscious doubt, shame, fear, and guilt with you. So joyous goals Achiever training is an attempt, a download, a pilot to actually turn it around. So what was my download? So those of you who've seen other webinars of mine, it's all about the David Hawkins scale. Once we actually come into the area of acceptance, which is allowing, even more so when we go to love, we start to see big shifts happening in our world. But to go there, we need to sort of clear all the programs that are shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride. So the starting point is responsibility. And a lot of us take responsibility. You know, I don't think I really hang out or work with people who don't take responsibility. But the next level is trust. And we don't really trust, especially if a lot of our goals didn't work out. Let's say, you know, a big dream relationship, you know, or a big financial goal didn't work out. We have a lack of trust. So in this Joyous Goals Achiever training, I want us to really understand what trust is and how and what we can trust and what we should just like take as information from the appearances of how we are aligned with our goal or not. So, so when I talk about the programs of the mind and I talk about the trance states, I'm talking about all the states of consciousness that are actually happening before 350. So of course, everything's already pretty good when you're in 200, but it still doesn't mean that you are going to manifest the goal because you still don't trust, right? So, and a lot of the things in life are difficult to trust, I can tell you, and I know for myself. So, but I still somehow found a way to clear all these trust issues. So I'm very, very, very hopeful that I can teach this as well. So, so when we talk about programs, realize that we're talking about all the types of consciousness, beliefs, actions, identities that are hovering under 350. Yeah. So imagine that though, that you are walking around with goals and you're thinking, why am I not achieving the goal? Why does the goal seem so out of reach? Well, it's because the mind is a creative instrument. And I was listening to a famous fast EFT teacher talking the other day, and she was saying that if you think that your conscious mind is powerful, you have to imagine this picture, which is your subconscious mind is an elephant and your conscious mind is the fly on the elephant. The subconscious mind is way more powerful. It will do everything it can to protect you. And I know that. I so know this. So I had to really understand the nature of my subconscious mind, but also the nature of the divine infinite mind that I was so in love with. So if the mind is a creative instrument, and when we are in these lower states of consciousness, we are in a trance, like literally we're in a hypnosis. We're like on automatic and we start forgetting everything that we invested in, all the courses, all the healings, all the books and masterminds we've been in. That is when you're in a trance. And I've been in those trances very, very often. So of course, the problem is that when we set a goal and we are not clearing these programs, we are going to end up being a vibrational match with feeling lack and with feeling separation. And no matter how many meditations you do, no matter how many retreats you go to, if you are not clearing this cup, you cannot fill it up with positive affirmations or I don't know how many retreats you can go to. It's not, according to me, it's not going to happen. And this is why I think there are so many people doing the work, but they're not getting the results. Because there is, you know, some people get lucky and they do some meditations and they have amazing results. But most people in that area of the big goal, whether it's health, whether it's wealth, whether it's relationship, because they haven't really understood how powerful the subconscious mind is and the identities of failure that they carry around with them, that is why I think we are not seeing millions of testimonials. Yeah, we're actually seeing a huge demand and growth of just like personal development, transformation courses, you know, retreats, healing classes and whatever. And why? Because people are looking for a solution. So why is it important to clear the survival programs? It's important to clear the survival programs because if you don't clear the survival programs, and this is what I've started to realize, really, is that it affects your identity. You know, Tony Robbins says that we are always congruent with our identity, but our identity in the areas of our big goals is very subconscious. So you might be standing there taking massive action and, you know, doing, I don't know what type of business planning, going to, you know, sales trainings or whatever, but your identity might still be one where you are more connected to feeling like a failure, somebody who doesn't, who has to struggle and effort to meet their business goals or their relationship goals, or you just have a few things that happened that you never cleared, and they're just there waiting, sitting there, giving you a frame of reference of, you know what, actually, you don't always achieve your goals. You didn't get this goal. So you know what? Maybe it's better not to even try. Your subconscious mind will try and either talk you out of it, or either protect you from dreaming too big, or even failing another time. So this is why I think a lot of people are stuck with, you know, split intentions. So, and of course, also in this world, a lot of us were trained to work really hard, to feel guilty when we don't hard. So it's ingrained in us that we believe more in 3D creation than in fifth dimensional creation. And I'm not somebody that is in favor of just 5D creation, because I've been in schools where we literally were almost encouraged to just do 5D creation. And that is also a bit boring, to be honest, like, you know, creating things just by thought alone. I mean, I need to get out of the house and also maybe create some things that affect other people, if you know what I mean. So, but we have gone very far in this society where basically the hustling type of mentality and giving up your life and health and whatnot to basically achieve goals that you ask yourself, do we really even want these goals, right? You know, very often materialistic goals, etc. So our mind is bombarded with a lot of programming that isn't serving us, that is really making us feel that we're basically we're not going to measure up. We already have fearful expectations, and also what is more importantly, we actually really operate from a competition and scarcity paradigm in this world. So, and because I've been studying ever since I was, how old was I? I think I was 40, 13 years or so or more. I was studying prosperity consciousness and oneness paradigms. I really started seeing that this competition paradigm is the opposite of the creation paradigm. If you believe that there is only competition, then you will not create, because you will never measure up with people out there. There's always somebody better than you. If you believe that there's not enough, there's only one piece of the pie and we all have to fight for it, you will not create, because it's too hard work, right? And this is for love, this is for relationships, this is for business, clients, winning clients, etc. So apart from that, you know, even if we haven't been entrepreneurial or we haven't even set big goals, we might just have also a big self-saboteur in our mind. And the saboteur is almost created to motivate ourselves. But if you understand consciousness and you understand how our self-talk is creating our worthiness and our ability to receive, then I think you start to understand that this is not a way to live. This is not a way to become infinite. And this is not a way to really continue if you really believe that our energy, our consciousness creates reality, can create a whole new timeline, and can connect us to infinite potential. Yeah. So Apart from that, those of you know that I do constellations work, and then I started working with quantum potentials in the quantum field. And some of you have been in those taster workshops already, and you've seen like miraculous things happen, that whatever shows up is very, very much almost like a 3D map of what's going on in the subconscious mind of a person or a family. Then you also know that I believe in the law of unconscious attraction. Like literally, I ran workshops in London called Law of Unconscious Attraction. And it is to show that, you know, if we were to set up a 3D map of what would we choose energetically, we would probably always be loyal and choose the things that connect us to the, let's call it the blind love or the consciousness of our family and our background. So often what you see is we end up with love hurts, love is unsafe, and love betrays us type of paradigms. Yeah. So, and the key is in a lot of our childhood memories, things we've witnessed, things we've heard, but also definitely the little traumas or the big traumas that we've experienced ourselves, the heartaches that we've experienced through the entanglement with our parents, or the heartaches that we looked at in our own lives, and then we see, oh my God, I am just reliving the patterns of my parents, or maybe an uncle or a grandparent. Yeah. So, so having said that, the conscious mind is very, very is not powerful enough to help us create goals, especially when we're talking about big goals and big shifts. If your family hasn't achieved certain things, then it might be that in your life, you will not be able to actually transcend it. But of course, there are people that transcend it, and that's what we want to study. We don't want to study the drowning to understand swimming. We want to study the ones that are swimming to understand swimming. Yeah. So, so we have to clear the mind, because the mind is just a recording and playback machine. And in my opinion, we don't have to take the mind to therapy for 1,000 years. We don't even have to really take it seriously. Because in one of the techniques that I really studied, release technique, and then in conjunction with the faster EFT, I started to understand that a lot of the things that we listen to, a lot of the things that we identify with, they're just trances. And if it's just a trance, and it's just like information that isn't even 1,000% of the truth of who I am and what I can achieve and what I can clear, then I am not going to take it seriously, take notes, and take it to therapy with me. Yeah. My days of therapy and Jungian analysis are over. And I have a lot of respect for Jungian analysis. I still love reading the books. I mean, they've taught me so much. I really have a love affair with the Jungians, but I don't believe in talk therapy. I might believe in dream analysis, but I don't believe in analyzing my complexes. Yeah, the complexes are programs in the Jungian world. So what have I devised? I devised a program where each week we have 6 hours live training per week, where we do 6 hours of really like clearing. I teach you how to clear using releasing in combination with fast EFT. And if needed, we bring in constellations work. It happens in a group. And so, and then you also have the obligation to commit to joyful accountability 5 times a week, where for at least 15 minutes a day, you have to connect to the quantum potential in a joyful way of your goal. And so, and there's a whole teaching behind it, which I will not go into today, but it's really about, instead of going through the fear and the resistance and what if the worst case scenario would happen type of thinking of our goals, we actually go to the joys of having the goal, the joys of being the person that has already achieved the goal, and the joys of being, having that consciousness of the being that can believe in ourselves. And that is a bit of the gap that we need to close. You know, we are here, we don't really believe in ourselves because of all the programs, and we need to clear and connect to the quantum potential of who we really are when we when we know that we can have the goal through inspired action. So what we're doing is with the clearing is we're raising your consciousness. And what we're doing with the connecting with the quantum potential is while we're clearing and we're emptying the cup that is full of, you know, negative self-talk, yeah, and negative evidences and data and references of how much you failed, how much it didn't work out in the past. We are going to connect you to the future. We're going to make you become a vibrational match to a new box. The change the box meditation is like a fundamental teaching in the Dr. Joe world. When that meditation came, it reminded me of the mirror of the mind meditation in the Silva method, but Dr. Joe taught it so well that I was like, oh my God, really, this is time jumping, timeline bending. This is really understanding you are bending time and space. You don't even have to stay in the same timeline if you understand this technique. So for me, it was like, okay, if this is possible, then why would I limit myself? So in this 6-week Joyous Goals Achiever training, we're doing 2 things. We're clearing 6 hours per week, yeah, where you learn it step by step, and we take it step by step. Plus, you are connecting to the new quantum potential. Because what I understand from all the things that I manifest is you have to connect to the new quantum potential, because you need to give the quantum field a framework. You need to give it instructions. And while you're doing that, you can do that with elevated emotions, but in the same time, you can clear the negative references and evidence in your subconscious mind that it's too unsafe, it's too risky, and why the hell would you even try? Yeah. So I hope that that makes sense. So what we're doing actually is we're mastering the mind. When you master the mind, you master destiny, and you're changing the neural network. You're getting out of the trance states. It's like an alarm bell goes off every time you go back into the trance. We're changing the neural network by clearing it, and by connecting yourself to your infinite quantum self. So funny enough, yesterday I was creating this document and I found that in my Facebook timeline, I don't know how many years ago, I made a screenshot, maybe 11 years ago, because I'm so into releasing, right, and the clearing stuff. I wrote this on my Facebook timeline and it said, not committing to clearing your limiting, painful beliefs is bringing your time, energy, being to the poverty consciousness bank and getting the dividends of pain, struggle, lack of self-belief, and self-abandonment. And there's nothing worse than that, but abandoning yourself and then blaming the world. That is living in a, in an illusion. We are the only ones abandoning ourselves. And if we don't take the responsibility to clear our limiting, painful beliefs and identities, we are investing in the poverty consciousness bank. Yeah. So who am I to teach this? Well, I have my own journey. It took me a very long time. I wouldn't say I was the fastest student. I would say I probably was one of the slowest students ever. Because I will share it later, but I had all the techniques, but I didn't clear on my love life. Yeah. So it was only in a crisis in 2020 when person who I really, really loved, and he loved me too, we sort of split up over text. Can you imagine? Ever since then, never heard from him again. Basically ghosted me. That was so painful for me. I had so much panic around being abandoned and deserted like that, especially because we were very serious with each other, that I thought, I am not a victim. Angelique, there's something in you that created this. And I had my own journey of clearing all my limiting beliefs. And I did it in 2020. And when I did it, some people here were actually working with me, and we were just clearing everything that was there. While I was clearing it and I was in heartache, my heart was so broken. I mean, I would have given my right arm to get back to this old boyfriend. I was designing my new life, my new box. And to be honest, I will tell you, I was writing out about what my relationship would be. And I was so hoping that it would be the man that left, or that, that I had a breakup with. And I didn't believe it. My body wasn't there. I was too much in pain. It was like my heart was ripped out of my body. But nevertheless, within a few months of working like this, I actually became a vibrational match. So if I can do it in several months, what is possible for you? Yeah. So I had all the courses, I will tell you, but I wasn't doing it. Like, like how you have a course and you just don't do it, or you do it half-heartedly. That was not an option for me anymore, because my heart was in so much pain. It was such a big crisis that I had to do the work. And so in 2020, I took responsibility. And there were a lot of synchronicities. There were a lot of tools that I applied, but I wasn't always a vibrational match, I will tell you. Yeah, I will be very honest about my love life. And when I'm in the course, I will also tell you more anecdotes of the synchronicities that happened, of how I was guided, or how I knew that I was ready, and how friends, circumstances, events, and angels stepped in for me and my now husband to actually meet each other on a very fateful day. Yeah. So but going back to, I have a background studying with Tony Robbins and Chloe Madonis, because I saw him turn around people in relationships like in one session. And I didn't like Tony Robbins, but what he did was so convincing that I thought, I don't know what this guy is doing. I need to study him. And I went into the course, I think 2012, and I learned so much about my victimhood. But still, I still couldn't clear myself. So I knew it, but I wasn't embodying it. Yeah. So I knew it all, but I wasn't embodying it, because I wasn't clearing my subconscious mind. But in the meantime, I was always powerful to guide people. So I had a client in Asia, in a country where men literally, it's my background, it's my ancestral background, they literally are not very faithful. They are unreliable. They are literally liars and cheaters and players. And this woman was like, how can I go on manifest my amazing soulmate? She was, then she had just split up with a boyfriend. It gave her a lot of heartache. And me, with all my Tony Robbins training, was like, no worries, you will manifest an amazing man. And lo and behold, everything that I taught her, she manifested her soulmate way before I did it. Yeah. Because of course, she was just like, I'm serious about this. I'm paying for this. And I don't want to go back to this heartache. And, I did even constellations with her. We had to deal with her family, her dad. And before we knew it, she met a beautiful man, was a British guy who was living in Singapore. And after a time, she actually went and moved in with him. And if I look now at her Facebook, they're happily together, and they're traveling back and forth between Singapore and UK, and she's part of the family. And looking back, she never believed in it. She was always like, her body was completely in the past. Her body and her identity was like, I cannot trust any of these men. I mean, look at all my friends, look at all the society, look at this and that. I was like, you know what? Why don't we just look at the people that are good? Forget about the people that are not right. That's not your, you just become the person that is so powerful that you can manifest it. And yeah, so I'm very proud of that. And she always gave me so much hope, that if I can teach this to somebody who didn't believe, and who also had a very painful family background around marriage and divorce, then I knew that I must be doing something right. Looking at some of the other games that I designed with other people, just recently, we 2 years ago, we had several courses called the Appreciation Game. And a lot of people came in that were really on the edge of divorce. Like, these people were like, I hate my husband. I should have divorced him yesterday. And there were several of these people in our course. And as we were talking to them about how they were actually not taking responsibility and how they could turn it around, and how they, if they didn't turn it around in themselves, they would leave and they would meet the same person with another name. And they took it seriously, and they started basically thinking different thoughts and becoming a different person. And we have so many testimonials and videos with names and all of people telling us that their husbands became different people because they were different people. So for me, that was like very even shocking to me and Ellen, who was my business partner, because we didn't expect it. You know, we are just playing a game. We give you accountability. We tell you we're going to throw you out if you don't do the accountability. You're out after so many warnings. People did it, and we're like, wow, wait a minute, there's something going on here. Apart from that, we also saw that, for instance, you know, people that had low self-esteem or, you know, really bad relationships with their children, even they had children that would suddenly send them like, "Thank you, I love you, mom" letters. I mean, seriously, I mean, we have all the recordings of all the testimonials, so you know, you can go and watch them. But the things that I will teach you in this course are literally the opposite of the 7 toxic ways of thinking and getting in the trance states of our programs. Yeah, and they're not difficult, but it needs accountability because it's so easy to fall back to the old self. Going back to love life again, I posted a video that I wanted to share about a program that I ran with 3 brilliant Tony Robbins strategic intervention coaches. They were my peers. And the program was called Stop Falling for Mr. Unavailable. And we created a series of videos and several steps that people had to go through to actually get out of their fear around dating. As we noticed, the most brilliant and beautiful and talented, successful women were single, and they were staying single, and nothing could get them out to actually meet people. They were staying safe. And we were thinking, what is this? Like, we have to do something about it. And we basically said, you know what? They just have negative expectations and they have a negative focus. So if we teach some strategies how to just have fun in dating, and how it's not about loving, you know, finding somebody who will love you so that you feel worthy, but you love yourself, you appreciate yourself, you will go out to the dating world and just make new friends and maybe possibly even attract, you know, who you want. And actually during that course, we had 3 ladies, I think, who actually started dating in a different way and ended up being in relationships because of that. So who am I? These are my testimonials. So if you want to know more, and if you haven't spoken to me yet, let's say you're new, this is the precursor course. This is the 6 weeks Joyous Goals Achievers training in order to get into the program around money, the Quantum Prosperous Money Constellations program, where we will be studying the science of getting rich, spiritual selling, abundance book, the millionaire course, etc. So whereas those courses are more focused on constellations work and connecting with the quantum potential, with the information that's coming from constellations work, this course is really about learning how to clear, learning how to get out of the programs and the trance states of the monkey mind. So it's a 6-week program, but you can commit only for 1 week, because maybe after 1 week, you already have like light bulbs going on and you're thinking, I don't need this anymore. But if you need it, you can stay in it for 6 weeks and you'll get 6 hours per week of life clearing. You get the daily accountability and you'll be trained personally by me, and everybody will get private time with me in the recording so that you really know what you're doing. So if you want to commit for 6 months, you can get a 1 free 120-minute private session with me, which literally, you know, is like almost like you're paying half price. So for the program. So, and if you join this program, you will be getting discounts for the VIP events in the Quantum Mastermind that I will be running. In Quantum Masterminds, everything to do with the quantum field and the way that we make it visible through constellations work. So in the 6-week course, we understand the nature of the mind. What is the mind? We understand thinking. We really go in depth into releasing, and we connect it with the fast EFT principles. And so that we really clear the neural network of trauma and of lack and of failure and of the identity that doesn't believe in itself. And we help you step into the new quantum potential. So that was the course. So basically what we're doing is the focus is on releasing, clearing the frame of references, the data of your subconscious mind that keeps you safe and that doesn't want you to take risks and that maybe has split intentions compared to your logical mind. So I felt that was very important, because if we're not going to do that, we were going to just be constellating a lot of complexes and programs. So I hope that that makes sense. I will show you a little bit of how we work in the Creation is Already Done game. So for instance, this is a private forum. So we have 6 weeks. So the people that want to manifest a job, you could be manifesting a job here. You could be working on self-love. You could be working on health. You could be working on a business goal. Yeah. So for instance, we will understand the difference between 3D and 5D creation, the difference between goals and intentions. And we will be working with time-bending concepts and the theory that your goal already happened, because all events are happening right now. If you want to know more about the outline of the 6 weeks, I am almost finishing this little pamphlet. So week 1 is waking up from the dream. So week 2 is clearing anger, frustration, desire, pride, and understanding the quantum potentials. Week 3 is really about trust, and that's a very difficult one. It's just not easy to trust, but I have some downloads about how we can trust, how we can allow it in, even if we don't trust. Week 4 is about not going back into the old ways of efforting and struggling, and knowing that you're not the doer. I will tell you, knowing that I'm not the doer, it blew my mind. I mean, I couldn't even accept it. I mean, it's only recently when I saw how things were unfolding and how the universe was taking care of me that I understood I don't have to be the doer. I am not the doer. I was never the doer. And when you understand that you're not the doer, but you are responsible, you can let go of the old ways of struggling and efforting. And I've had really so-called impossible manifestations just because I understood this lesson. So I can teach this, you know. Just yesterday, I had 2 impossible manifestations happen. We're talking about impossible. So I was doing a walking meditation today with one of my Dr. Joe friends here in Playa del Carmen. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I think I know what I'm doing now, because I was getting out of the box of I need to control my manifestation, or I need to take action, or I need to figure it out. I am not figuring it out anymore. So these are all the things that we're going to go through, and we're going to clear on people that need to figure out how they're going to achieve the goals. Week 5 is just basically self-belief, knowing that your goals are possible. They have already happened. And week 6 is really, that's the wrap up of this clearing module. And I'm going to teach time bending. It's one of the things that I really do have a lot of fun with. And also really understanding that there is a box where your problem doesn't even exist. And you just have to learn how to tune into the downloads. So I hope that that was very clear. And I will upload this video recording. Those of you who haven't spoken to me yet about this course, or about working with me, or how to join some of the Constellations workshop, do reach out to me. I think this course will start somewhere around Wednesday next week. So Wednesday next week. And there is And when you join, we will actually, you will be invited into this private forum, and we will start voting on the times that we will meet. But we will make sure that all of you will be in a time slot so that I can work with you privately. Yeah. So hope that this was clear, and I'll stop this recording. Thank you, everybody.